Hello, everyone. It is Monday, March 15th, and this is Sex Positive Me on BFAM 109.6. I got the numbers right. I'm practicing.
Yes,
Nice
you
job.
have. Yay! You get a cookie.
I do get a cookie. I get a little gold star on me. So today is going to be, let's see, our third broadcast, and we're doing something special.
Very special.
Very special. We have a guest. We have a guest, Milla Impola, the Director of Marketing and Communications. I love that's a long title to put on a business card of Global Protection Corp, which we're going to be talking about safe sex and condoms and lots of fun stuff. And we're going to get to her in just a moment. But let's see. We are live. We are streaming. Well, we're on 105. What? I keep going to 5.
It's 109.6 BFAM. Oh, Lord.
Well,
we're going to get kicked off, I swear.
No, we're not.
Not because of anything else, just because we can't remember the station's name.
I'm scrolling through the notes. I got it right here. So right off the bat, though, I want to go ahead and talk about One Condoms because I love the next generation of condoms. It seems very space age right off the bat.
Well, have you seen half of their packaging? They're very space agey.
That's true. They do have some really glossy stuff.
And gold and shimmery and tattooy and it's
I
all
love
of
the
both.
you know, I'm a fan. I'm a huge fan of tattoos.
Yeah, you like the tattoo because of the rib patterns on it, so which is pretty cool. But I thought the best part was trying to figure out that they have 60 different condoms.
Well, I'm sure there's a lot we're going to find out. So without delay, Milla.
How are ya?
Hi, everybody. Thanks so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here today.
So excited to have you. So I got to say, right off the bat, you have a most interesting job. Challenging, but I think interesting.
Yes, for sure. Every day is a new adventure. And I love getting to just hear even customer stories. And, like when you create products that make people's lives easier, or their sexual health experience easier, better, more pleasurable, then getting that feedback back, is always amazing. So even in the busiest of days, when you're worrying about inventory or other things, and then you get some customer testimonial that just gives you a huge smile on your face, that's definitely one of the favorite parts of my day.
Well, we're going to dive into that, but we're going to have a quick little break here for a second. We're Sex Positive Me. We're talking about safe sex on BFAM 109.6. Go with the music. Maybe. There we go. I know it's your playlist. I still get to dance to it. Tell us, what do you do at One Condoms?
So I help oversee a lot of our programs. So whether it's our design contest, our project condom fashion shows, our momentum user advocacy program, anywhere from helping oversee advertising strategy and different marketing campaigns. We work a lot with our health department and health organizations to really bring condom and lubricant education and sexual health education out into the community. So a little bit of everything, which is great. Every day is really different and keeps things interesting, that's for sure.
I love the second one you just mentioned. What was it? The design contest?
I was more concerned on the fashion show. I'm like, okay,
that's it. The fashion show.
The fashion show.
Because people don't think fashion and condoms.
Well, here there's a charity event that happens every year. It's called Trash to Fashion, where they take trash items, recyclables, things, and make them into ball gowns and dresses, and it's a whole fashion show out of trash. So I'm assuming the same with the condom.
Yeah, we do the same thing with condoms, not where somebody's walking down the runway wearing the condom, although that might also be interesting. All the garments are essentially made out of condoms. So people make dresses and pantsuits and all kinds of really amazing stuff. It's a lot of universities and colleges who do it, and also some nonprofits. Unfortunately, of course, last year a lot of those events were canceled and moved to this year, but we're hoping to kick it off this year. But really, Project Condom, just like all of our programs, are intended to serve a purpose of how do we make talking about condoms interesting and fun and engaging and kind of in your face, right? So if you go to a fashion show where everything's made out of condoms, we're tricking you into thinking about condoms, right? And then you're at an event where there's free condoms and lubricants, so you might toss them in your purse, and then you're having conversations about condoms. So for us, it's all about how do we just get people talking about condoms so it becomes less taboo and just a normal everyday conversation to talk about.
More subliminal messages.
Yeah, for sure. Condom, lubricant.
Well, it's most people when they think of condoms, it's not a pleasant thought at first. And for years, what I never actually realized this, but there's two sizes, right? There is regular and magnum,
right,
and nothing in between.
Nothing in between, yeah. And just like, if there was 2 sizes of a bra, right, or 2 sizes of shoe, we would all say, that's crazy. But we know that people's feet come in different sizes, and we know that people's, breasts come in different sizes. Let's make more sizes, right, of these things that should be more and more of a customized fit. So with the My One brand, we're excited to now kind of have that as almost like a celebration and recognition, like, oh yeah, penises also come in different sizes, and it wouldn't be an amazing, more pleasurable, comfortable, positive experience for everyone involved if, the condom isn't either squeezing or slipping or bunching or doing some of those annoying things that condoms can do if they're just not fit right.
Well, one thing I will say is for penis owners, we'll say, having to try the condom on or put a condom on, it's one of those confusing things that, because guys, most of the time, we're not looking at other guys' penises. We see porn, which is completely wrong. They're the Magnum Plus.
Right, but sometimes porn doesn't show you the penis at all. You might get a quick little glimpse of it.
Like a little side, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So we don't know, is it really Magnum or is it just the average size that looks bigger because of the camera angle,
Right.
Well, I think the fact that there's only 2 sizes in the condoms, the regular and the Meg, give guys this opinion of, well, I can't fill the Magnum, I'm less of a man, and that is BS.
And even standard condoms, this average condom length is 7.5 inches long.
Oh my
Most
God.
penises are 5.5 inches long. So that's what we hear for a lot of from our customers is that, they just kind of assume that, okay, if it's a standard condom size, that must mean that most people's penis is 7.5 inches long, which it's absolutely not. Like, that's on the larger end of like the penis spectrum, right? So they talk about how, this whole time I was thinking everyone's penis is that long, but it's just not true. The original condom size was kind of made to hopefully sort of maybe cover most people out there, but as we know, penises can range from like an inch to over 10, 12 inches. So there's really a vast range, both in length and also circumference, that really plays into whether a standard condom or an extra large condom is actually comfortable or not.
And that's another thing that people don't think about is the girth. It's not just the length.
It's the girth.
But it's like people, they can come short and wide. They can come long and thin. May look a little weird, but everyone's got a different size and a penis. That's so
weird. Yeah, exactly. And when it comes to the most common condom fit complaint is that, well, there's 2. One is that condoms are too small. And what often people really mean is that they're too tight in circumference. So do you mind if I show a little model?
Absolutely. Let the latex or non-latex fly.
So I do apologize for our radio listeners who cannot see it, but you could go to our YouTube channel to see exactly the demonstration. Go ahead.
Perfect. No problem.
Disclaimer on Milla.
So here's the standard condom size that I mentioned is around 7.5 inches long usually. A really common issue is where a penis is shorter but thicker than a standard condom. So what this person's probably going to experience is it's already too tight in the circumference and it feels uncomfortable, like a rubber band on your wrist getting tighter and just feels really uncomfortable. And then there's this extra latex that's an inch and a half, whatever, that hangs off at the tip. So either that's going to hang off at the tip and loose and you're going to be worried that it's going to fall off, almost like a slingshot that's going to like cause the condom to slip off. Or what most people do is that they roll the extra latex towards the base, right? But the more latex there is, the tighter the condom starts to feel. It's like a rubber band just getting tighter and tighter. And what often customers call the red ring of death, which is an Xbox reference I learned. But where they actually have a purple ring on their penis after sex.
Wow.
Oh my.
And then what this person often goes and says is, I'm trying to be a responsible condom user. So I go to the store and get the Magnum or another extra large condom, but that's going to be longer and not that much wider than a standard condom. So for the people who need something shorter and wider, Magnums and extra large condoms are not really going to do that much difference, because not only is it still not wide enough, like the width that person needs, but it's also now even longer, so that extra latex bunching actually starts getting worse. So that's where a Magnum can actually feel even tighter than a standard condom because of that extra length. So that's why we're excited with my one. Millions of people around the world use a standard condom or an extra large successfully, have an amazing time, and thumbs up and clapping my hands for that. For the people that really struggle with finding something that fits right, we're just excited to have my one here to help support those people, have a positive, comfortable condom experience. And then the other thing that people also struggle with is, as I was mentioning, condoms are often way too long for a great majority of condom users. So what they'll talk about is that, the condom, they're either afraid that the condom's going to slip off, or every single time they use condoms, they slip off, or they have to actually hold on to the condom because it's so long and loose. And you can imagine how that person feels, right? When they go to their sex educator who might be wanting to do the best thing and they just say, oh, condoms are meant to fit everybody. But you as the user know what it feels like to either hold on to a condom during sex because it's too big, or to experience slippage. And condom slippage impacts not only the person wearing the condom, but whatever orifice that penis is being put into, right? It affects the other person too. So slippage can really be stressful for all the people involved. And what all of our My Own customers talk about is the confidence that they can finally have when they have to stop worrying about, as one customer says, the mechanics down there, and they can actually focus on the fun part of sex, right? They're not worried about slippage or erection loss because the condom's too tight, or any of these red ring of death on their penis, but they can actually focus on the fun parts of sex rather than having to worry about the condom, right? And how the condom fits.
Well,
anxiety.
There's a lot of anxiety around condoms.
Yeah.
I want to throw one out there because I use them myself. We are non-monogamous, and it's the Vanish one.
Ooh, yeah, Vanish is a nice one.
And the reason is it gets feeling across. I've tried a lot of I won't say there's thick condoms. They're not quite armored. But there are some condoms you put on, you're like, I feel like I'm in a rubber ball.
It's a rubber room for your penis.
You can't feel it. But then you're worried about, you get smaller ones or the thinner ones, and you're always worried about them breaking.
Right.
That's why we always say use lube so it won't break.
Exactly. And lubricant with any type. We always recommend lubricant for any use of condoms, because lubricant really helps, helps reduce the friction and really helps prevent condoms from breaking. So that extra lube is always amazing.
And it doesn't mean that you're broken or there's something wrong with you because you're using lube. It's just an enhancer. You're just enhancing the experience, So just because you're not lubricate down there naturally, it's okay. That's why, God made lube. I'm sorry.
Exactly. It really is rather than a medical thing, right? It really is a pleasure enhancer. That's a great way to communicate about lubricant. It really is a pleasure enhancer, comfort enhancer too.
Definitely. And I think while we're on the subject of lube, though, we know there's water-based lube, there's silicone-based lube, there's hybrid, and usually they are all condom safe. Just because our listeners may not know, oils. Some people use coconut oil. I've seen someone use olive oil, which made me feel like I should be cooking Italian while we were having sex. It was a little weird.
It was weird, but also you got to realize maybe the oils might not, react properly. Remember, I went through a little 3 weeks of out of order because someone was using olive oil when we were having our fun time, and I was pissed afterwards because I was decommissioned for 3 weeks.
But the oils don't work well with condoms, correct?
No, yeah, oil breaks down the latex molecules, which essentially causes the latex condom to break. And if someone's curious, you can just like take olive oil and, put a condom on your finger or something and rub it, and you see how quickly it really starts to deteriorate and then eventually break. And that's why, like, now there's also, a few years ago, 5, 6, I can't remember exactly how long, but, the FDA started to regulate lubricants the same way that they do condoms, so as a medical device, right? So that's where you saw some of the smaller brands kind of disappear from the market, because there's a lot of regulatory stuff that you have to do to, be a medical device. But you also now see kind of more lubricant brands coming to the market, and they kind of don't officially market themselves as personal lubricants. They might market themselves as like a personal massage oil or something, but clearly it's like intended a little bit to be as a lubricant. So also, and some of them I've noticed don't list their ingredients on their website. And then when I reached out, they do use things like coconut oil or something where it's not really evident to maybe like to the common consumer who might not know that you're not supposed to use oil with latex condoms, for example. So that's where anytime, if you do use condoms as part of your sexual health practice and you're trying a new lubricant, to really look into that. Like, does it have oils? Like, is it truly compatible with latex condoms? Or if you're using a urethane condom or something, to just double check it to make sure you're safe.
So definitely look for the word lubricant and don't go with the massage oil or some other stuff.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I didn't realize the FDA walked in on this, because there's many other countries where not just condoms and lube, but sex toys are considered health and wellness aids, and therefore under the government regulation. But in the US, they're considered novelties. So you can make whatever you want and put it together and market it. And I don't think there's any recourse directly or involvement.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what, a regulatory body started to see with lubricant, and how, a lot of lubricants had just crazy ingredients or just like bad reactions and stuff. So they wanted to kind of start to regulate also the lubricant market as a medical device rather than a cosmetic, which it was before, which doesn't have nearly the same amount of regulations as obviously a medical device would.
Those poor little animals.
Well, we want to be safe.
I know, but we're just going to have to take a quick little break. But when we come back, we'll be talking more about safe sex here on Sex Positive Me on BFAM 109.6.
You're doing great, Milla. I'm not sure how often you do broadcasts like this.
Every now and then, not too often. But I do love talking about condoms and lubricants, so.
We'll keep you busy to the end on that one. I got a little promo, and then we'll be coming back. And we're back. And at this point, we want to mention Kink Crate. Kinkcrate.com is actually one of those subscription services that we absolutely love. We subscribe to because it keeps me interested. Meaning,
yes, they've come up with some crazy stuff the last 3 years that we've been with them. So
it's been BDSM, it's been kink, it's been medical play, pony play, puppy play. Every time I open up the box, I'm excited. It feels like Christmas when that box comes, because you forget you ordered it, and then it shows up, and you're like, oh, Christmas! Open it up and find out what's in there.
And I'll just take the candy from it.
So if you're interested, check out kinkcrate.com. And we are back with Milla from One Condoms. And one of the things I want to say is I went through and read your mission statement. And I'm just going to say some of it. It was One products are uniquely designed for safe, healthy, enjoyable sex between caring partners. Then it goes on to say one of your goals are to produce products better, safer, more pleasurable. It's so rare to hear a condom producer mention pleasure and enjoyment and so much more in there other than, hey, it'll keep you safe.
Right. Like, I would say most people or hope to aspire to like have sex for because of pleasure, right? Like, you don't have sex because you want to avoid having kids, or you don't have sex because you want to avoid getting an STI. You have sex because it feels good, or you hope that it's going to feel good. So I think as a company that makes products for sex and sexual health, like, we have to also consider the fact, like, are they pleasurable? Can we do things to make them more pleasurable? Can we listen to customer feedback, like the good, the bad, the ugly, and use that to make our products better? And that's, that's where things like our glow in the dark condom came out of, people asking like, Is there a fun way that I can bring up condoms with my partner, right? Like maybe you've stopped using condoms and you're not sure how to reintroduce them or something. And you can say, hey, like, I'm going to dress like a character from Star Wars and we're going to play lightsaber games with this glow in the dark condom, right? Like you can like create a little bit of fun around it in a new way where you're introducing and making it a lot more fun, so that the condom doesn't have to always be the ruin the mood thing, but it can be like, hey, let's try something new and exciting kind of thing.
And I would just want to mention, from the swinger community and the glow-in-the-dark parties, those glow-in-the-dark condoms are a hit, because I always see them everywhere at those parties. I'm just like, yes!
Like, there one goes.
Yeah, it's like, because I only know one's the one that makes the glow-in-the-dark condoms. There's no other brand, so that's why.
Well, it's funny because one of the things I've seen at some of the swinger events we've been to is a dark room, which literally they will take a room and they'll put the biggest blackout curtains on all the windows. So when you go in there, you can just do this and you can't even see it. So it's sort of like a grope thing. And I've heard stories about, I could see absolutely nothing. And then this penis went by with the glow in the dark condom on. That's
amazing. That's amazing. Yeah. See, there you go. It's like almost like a nightlight.
I didn't think it was that bright, but yeah, you're right. In the pitch out, yeah, you're right. We just saw it. It just looked kind of weird,
Well, I know one of the things I like to talk about is you have your company has a design contest where they send in designs and then you put them. Is it on the wrapper of the condom?
Yes. Yeah, so really as a brand, when we first launched in 2003, our CEO, Dave and Wito, wanted to do everything completely differently, right? So instead of the square wrappers that people were used to seeing, we do ours in the round, and then trying to come up with ways to involve customers constantly. So one of the ways is the design contest, so that the wrappers are sort of a reflection of what's cool in popular culture, the wrappers are a reflection of what like our customers think are cool and are like a reflection of themselves. Because while I think that I'm kind of cool, I don't always know it's cool. So I'm not going to pretend like I'm going to make wrapper collections that everybody else is going to think is cool. And then that way, people are constantly kind of helping us develop the future of the brand. So yeah, they go on the front of the wrapper. So here's like, like they have a lot of sexual innuendos. Like here's like corn dog. National Corn Dog Day is coming up. So, there's a good celebration of that. Then there's funny ones where people use the one logo as puns. So like one giant leap is one. One for everyone. And it's all kinds of different people on there. So people come up with really cute, funny stuff. And then like more like health message type stuff where it's like step number 1, get consent. Peachy one. So all kinds of fun stuff that people come up with. And, you definitely see like as people submit designs, like what's happening in popular culture, might be like if a new movie comes out, not that we can like copyright issues, put a lot of the stuff that people submit when movies come out. But, you definitely see as people submit like what's happening in popular culture, which is really cool.
I like how it gets people involved. It's obviously if I had a condom on there, that would be... If I had a condom wrapper on my resume, that would be big and big bold there. That would be fun.
Condom wrapper designer.
And that's why they want to be part of contributing. It's like, hey, look, I'm spreading the word.
Yeah, and for us, we're getting more people, involved with the brand. And then again, we're tricking people into thinking about condoms because they're thinking about condoms when they're designing, right? When they're submitting. And then the public gets to vote on the final winners per round. So, then you get everybody involved to actually vote, aka you're, again, making people think about condoms. And then, we have people who submit photographs or more graphic design art or, all types of stuff. Some are hand-drawn. It's really cool just seeing what people submit. And some are really funny.
Well, it's funny because as we go around to conferences, again, pre-COVID, I ended up with a bucket of condoms, which is mostly a couple lubes, but mostly condoms in there. And I decided during COVID I'm like, okay, I need to figure out what's expired and give away the other stuff so people can use it. And I thought I didn't know I had a whole lot of One Condoms because everyone was in a different wrapper. So I'm like looking at it, going, nope, that's one too. And, oh, well, that's one too. Some
Yeah,
other brands are easy. You just look for the gold package. You know what they are.
right, exactly. And because we run like 2 to 3 contests a year, the wrappers now are constantly kind of changing too. So lots of things to collect and see. And then even sometimes people will tell us like, oh, well, I didn't want to use this condom because like want to keep it as a collection. We're like, okay, don't do that. Like if you need to use it, and then just let me know and I'll send you a new one of that design.
I'm just curious, do you have like this wall or poster of all the condom designs that you have, trading cards here?
Yeah, we do. So in our office, we started this project where we started to make these huge, like kind of glass displays of all the collections throughout the years. We haven't hung them up yet, but they're really cool. And even, I've been with one for 6 years now, but seeing some of the stuff from even the earlier days and just seeing how things have changed over time, it's pretty cool.
See, I would like to see that. God forbid Instagram will allow it, but
the mural of condoms.
Yes.
And we do see, like health organizations and a lot of like students will send us like their dorm room wall, and it's like all covered in condoms.
Well, speaking of students, I read on your website you guys do a lot of donations, not just to the health organizations, which obviously need help and more funding, but overseas as well, the countries where perhaps this isn't quite readily available, correct?
Yeah, so we do a lot of our donations right now are in US and Canada. We do a little bit in Europe, for example. Then we work with like Health AIDS Care Foundation, who does sexual health outreach all around the world. We have another team in Asia that's also doing a lot of work over there. So one has launched in like Thailand and Vietnam and Malaysia, and we're just constantly kind of expanding the reach of the brand and also our donations program. And because there's so many organizations out there who need support in terms of their sexual health outreach, so we're just trying to do our part to help make it possible for for our partners to keep doing that amazing important work.
See, now I want the condom wrapper that's not only cool but
in different languages.
In different languages.
Right?
Like me when I was a little kid, I used to collect all like the Coca-Cola bottles from the different countries.
Yeah, that would be cool, just to start doing more like wrapper designs with that'd be really cool with different translations and stuff. Yeah,
because sometimes the translations doesn't mean the same in a different country.
No.
I have learned that even in Spanish itself, it's just like.
Yeah, and we have like our partners in Malaysia did these amazing red envelopes like for Lunar Year. They've done it like 2 years in a row. It's just beautiful. I'll send you all some too. And then instead of like the gold coins that usually go inside or money, they have one condom wrappers that look like golden coins with these beautiful designs on them. So
dude, I so need that. that just replaced my Starbucks New Year's Eve card.
Yeah, there you go.
Every Lunar Year I hunted down. Even though I could get it digital now, I still want the physical red envelope and the Lunar New Year card, so this year is Year of the Ox, so I go hunting that down. Now I want the one condom
yes
envelope.
I'll definitely send you all some.
That's when you
wow. I mean, it sounds like such a pickup line, but it's also valid. Would you like to come see my condom collection?
I have various different designs and styles to choose from.
Yes, look at my
I'm either going to get
edition.
yes, I need to, or a no.
But it's limited edition and worth a lot.
Right? But it's all about making it fun. Even when we for my one, we did Measure Penis Day, now 2 years in a row. It's every February 1st to kick off National Condom Month, which was also around like, customers coming to us and saying like, my partner doesn't really like condoms because they're too tight or they always slip off, but I don't know how to like bring it up in a conversation. Like, yes, we're having sex, but I don't know how to say like, I want to measure your penis, like how do I, or if you notice that it's slipping off, like how do I have that conversation in a positive way where, like a body positive type of way. So that's where even like Measure Penis Day came out of, to help kind of our customers and people just start talking about penis size in an all new different way and start to talk about it, in a positive way too. So always trying to find ways to get people talking.
And well, if you don't want to wait until February 1st, I know you can go to myonecondoms.com and they can print out a PDF which has the ruler on it.
Mm-hmm.
I would show the ruler, but it's right in back of me up on there. up on
Good
the wall.
thing I always have one ready.
Have one. I need a few more of those.
Yeah.
I'm pointing. I'm using the Mickey finger.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, so the fit kit looks like this. So all the sizes are coded, so it could be like B22 or D21, kind of like penis bingo a little.
Bingo.
Yeah. And the good thing about the measuring stick is that the letters, it's so hard to always center, are right there. So you can measure the length in letters. That's why they're in the middle. And then the girth is a number. So it's kind of like where this wider part at the end meets one of the orange lines in the middle. So somebody could be like an 11, trying to get it in the middle of the camera. And then, U21, for example. So
I'd say if you've never tried it, again, though, by the way, where I was going back to, that is actually a great way to suggest to your partner. Go get the PDF, print it out. I tried it, do it in color. It works better. And then just kind of, leave it out. Maybe to kind of give a hint. What's the, I was thinking of measuring your penis because I'm so proud of it.
Right, exactly. Yeah, and for the first measure day, we asked people because, we were kind of sitting in the conference room thinking, okay, what advice can we give people? And then we thought, let's ask our customers. I bet they have the best advice, so we sourced all the advice actually from our customers, and many of them said, like, just ask. Like, if there's a better, if you notice me struggling with condom fit and you know of a product out there that might solve it, just ask. Meanwhile, others kind of said that the way they had the conversation is they held like two bananas and said, is your banana more like this banana or like this banana?
It might be a cucumber. I mean, it's
exactly. Or
there's an occasional pineapple out there.
Yeah. Or to like put on like a construction worker hat and just, like say like, all right, like let's measure, or like make it fun that way, that doesn't have to be serious and can be really sexy and fun.
It's all about the playtime. Come on, people.
Yeah.
It is. And let's see, I had some interesting facts I was going to bring up, and then we were going to do a little bit of trivia. But obviously, condoms protect also against STDs, STIs. And I did a little research on this, and I found something very interesting. So there's HIV, HSV 1 and 2, which is herpes, HPV, chlamydia, gonorrhea, syphilis. I know it's a huge list of scary stuff, but I was amazed to also find out how many are orally transmittable. And people don't think about it. We've tried it. Doing oral sex with a condom is, especially to be safe, I mean, it's a must, especially with a new partner.
For sure.
If you don't know, because of all that list I mentioned, everyone except HIV was orally transmittable.
Yeah, exactly. So it's, like you said, with a new partner and stuff, especially important to use condoms during oral, which sometimes hard to talk to people about, but that's why we do even things like the flavored condoms, right? To try and make them more fun and make that experience also fun. And then a common thing that will then come up with flavored condoms is we'll hear like flavored condoms are only for oral, but that's even sort of like a sort of maybe answer because it depends if the brand and that specific flavored condom uses sugars or sweetener in it, in which case, because some brands do because it makes the flavor actually taste, sugary and sweet, but sugary sweet things don't work well in a vagina and cause things like yeast infections. So if it has sugars and sweeteners, then no, definitely don't use it for penetrative sex. But like our flavor waves don't have any sugars. So they're completely intended for intercourse too. So it's another thing. Fun factoid about flavored condoms.
Well, another fact we realized about the flavored condoms is, Angelique's diabetic. So having a condom that has, again, sugar in it can kind of spoil the mood if someone starts having health problems right before sex.
Yep.
It spoils the equipment. That's what
says. Exactly.
Well, I think it's time.
It's time.
We are going to do a little giveaway here.
Ooh.
And we will ship this out. We have to now. This is only our second time doing this, so we need to go ahead and say only the U.S. now.
Only the U.S.
We love you. We love all of you.
Yeah.
But we cannot ship outside of the U.S. at the moment.
At the moment, there.
So here's what we're doing. It's the first person to email us the answer at info@sexpositiveme.com. So here's the question. And I had to dig for this one. I didn't want to make it too hard, but I didn't want to make it too easy.
Yeah, he really had to dig because I even questioned. I was off a little bit.
So condoms can be made out of latex, lambskin, polyisoprene, polyurethane, which I thought was only for kitchen tables. There's so many different things available. But depending on the generation, we call them rubbers. When were condoms actually first produced out of rubber?
Out of rubber.
What is the year? And I'll give you a hint. Rubber was not invented until 1839. So don't say like 1600. That's way off. But if you go ahead and email that answer, and you know what? I guess I'm going to go with the person who's closest because I definitely want to give this away. And email us at info@sexpositiveme.com. You will win this fabulous prize pack here.
Can you actually describe it? Because remember, we have listeners. We have the One Vanish Hyper Thin condoms.
The Tattoo Touch.
We have the One Super Sensitive Thin Smooth with 50% more lubricant.
And the Super Studs, extra large studs for maximum stimulation.
And then we have the One Ultra Feel and Uber Lube. My favorite. I love Uber Lube silicone lube. So that is what is going to be in the prize giveaway for those who cannot see that we're showing. Okay.
So go ahead and mail it in, and we're going to be back in just a moment. This is Sex Positive Me on BFAM 106.
109.6.
109.6. Damn it. It's your responsibility from here on out.
We're going to lose the show because you can't say the name.
I said BFAM. You follow up on that.
Oh, Lord. That's it.
I promise to get it right.
It's practice.
I am gonna shout out Angelique though, because I came on early to let you know that there's people listening on the radio. Way to go, Angelique, to remember the radio is listening.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, actually, another thing was Amazon has been pushing their commercial to have the audio dictated for blind people. So that's why I started, like things that, because I don't know, someone may turn on the video but not be able to hear it. Yeah, I mean, see it, but actually hear it. So
sometimes it's hard to do both audio and video simultaneously, but we're not forgetting those radio listeners out there. But I do want to bring just a quick word from one of our sponsors, the Florida Center for Hormones and Wellness, providing hormone therapy for both men and women. We've actually been going for 2 years now almost.
Yes. And we're slowly going to upload my video journal.
Yes.
Your video journal is
actually this week I'm editing it.
Okay.
But we have gone through things like the pulse wave treatment, the P shot, the O shot.
The VV.
Oh, yeah. So all of that will be up there. But if you're interested, check out hormonesandwellness.com. And they have a great website out there explaining what they can do for you. So we are back now talking about safe sex with Milla from One Condoms.
Hey.
Let's see, what haven't we covered? We've talked about design. We've talked about the donations, getting people excited.
Subliminal messages.
Then I think, some of the other reasons. So we talked about like condom size, right? And that can cause people not to dislike condoms. Because for example, with my one, we have customers who'll say like, oh, I stopped using condoms 30 years ago, but now I'm using them again because for the first time in my life, they don't slip off or cause like instant erection loss or just feel really uncomfortable because they're too tight. But then there's also other things, like condom brands are also made of different materials. So also, whether it's One Condoms or another brand, like just finding and testing, like what a fun science experiment, right? To just test out a bunch of different condom brands and styles to really find your favorites. Because there are, brands will use different thicknesses of latex or different formulations of latex. And one factor with condoms is something called soft versus hard latex, which is essentially like how soft, like how much does the latex move with you versus like hard latex kind of is, the word hard kind of says it all. But, when you're trying to move around and wiggle around, like it doesn't really move as much with you. And especially sometimes as condoms get thinner, sometimes the latex becomes harder. So that's also something to think about. But to kind of help address that, we also formulated our own form of latex, which is called Sensitex, which is no matter how thin it is, it's still very soft. But that's also like to pay attention, like, as you take the condom out of the wrapper and start to feel it and stuff, like how does it compare to other condom brands? And then taking notes, maybe a little journal about what styles do you like the best, I'm always, a fan that's a fun science project. Maybe not for everyone, but
no, it's definitely a needed science project because you want to know what is it that makes you feel comfortable and you enjoy it. And, it's like you want to replicate it. It's like, trying to remember our favorite drink at a bar. You're like, wait, it's totally different name at different bars. So
like has a little almond and has a little whatever coconut, but I don't really remember.
I think it was called like Spanish cream, or was it like pineapple lemon? I was like,
yeah. So that's also something. And same with lubes, right? Like silicone tends to be slicker, but can like ruin some bed sheets, right? So, or water-based absorbs into your skin and there's not much cleanup afterwards. So it's like, what do you prefer and what fits your sexual lifestyle to find really products they like?
I think if you have, again, whether you do it alone or with a partner, it's a great scientific experiment. And then you get to say, I'm doing this for science.
Exactly. It's always for science.
Because we've done this. And again, we get samples in. So we've had little samples of one company's water-based, another company's silicone, the other one's in hybrid, and just sat down and started putting them in your hand and just doing this.
That's funny. We do that a lot in the office too.
Yeah. Rubbing their fingers together, like, it's like money, 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 money. Oh no, sorry, lube.
Lube.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, it turned into a lube fight, but we won't go there.
Oh, yeah.
It was interesting how different they were, because some of them I'm like, I want to moisturize with this, and some of them I'm like, I'm never like putting this on an hour before I go to work because it doesn't come off. So,
well, this is your work. You're fine.
Or like, some are like good also for hair. I've noticed, like if I'm at a conference and I have some flyaways, I'm like, hold on, let me just fix that real quick. And it's like other lubricants are great for that. Some are not. So, lubricants can also be multi-use.
Exactly. I always thought it was funny because I followed the Run Disney group on Facebook there, and I was so surprised and awed that other people suggested the silicone lube to rub on for chafing or the summertime, because we're in Florida. Okay, so 100-degree weather and boob sweat, you're just trying to figure out how to get rid of it, and you just say, just put some silicone lube there and you're fine. And
there you go. See,
there's multi-purposes for it.
Exactly. Lubricant is good for it all.
Well, we've been, talking about the condoms, talking about the lube, talking about the design. Man, you guys are all over the board.
Covered a lot, yeah. And now we even have a website called customcondoms.com where people can customize their own condoms. Right now it's like...
Oh, now I want to hear about it.
Yeah, I was going to say, wedding favors is like everyone's getting departing gifts, wedding favors with the bride and groom's name on it.
That might work at our wedding. But I don't know how many other people would go for that, but who knows?
No, it's actually amazing. Like people give each other like high school graduation gifts, and it's they like students where they like put somebody's face on it or something, or it's bachelorette gifts, it's company event gifts, like all kinds of stuff. Baby shower also, we've seen some of those come through, which is really funny.
Okay, so which one has been the most like, kind of like funny, weird, like I can't believe they're doing that on my customized condom?
Oh, that's a good one. I think there was like a photo of somebody giving birth, like a real close-up. So that was interesting, beautiful, bring that, beautiful miracle event. But we were like, all righty, let's print it. Somebody wants to celebrate that on a condom. Who are we to judge?
Hey,
okay, that takes a new level of judgment.
No judgment.
No judgment.
It's just one of those. I got to see if I actually like went to rip open a condom and that was on there. I'd be like,
is that encouraging me to wear the condom more or not? That's where I'm kind of.
It like made me think of I don't know if Sex Ed in Florida, but like we basically had an abstinence class in Texas and then another class where we watched The Miracle of Life, that video from the 80s that
yes.
So that's what it reminded. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Good.
Yeah.
And that's
Still
something
being
that's
used.
amazing. I always find out there are several states that will teach nothing at all or abstinence. But statistically speaking, every place that I know of that does teach comprehensive age-appropriate sex ed
Right.
has lower teenage births. You know, it's the benefits is lower abortion rates.
Everything. But you know, here was the funny part when 16 and Pregnant came out on MTV that year. Pregnancies dropped nationwide.
Yeah, yeah, because you see, like it really is like all the things that go into and the parenting and all that. I can see that, yeah.
For one little 10-minute act, well, 2 minutes depending on their age.
30 seconds, you know, depends, you know. But anyways, but you see that drama and things, I was just like, holy cow. And that's what shocked me the most. That as soon as that show came out that year, pregnancies and abortions, everything dropped. I was like, hey, isn't this telling you something, people?
Yeah, and just like, you know, seeing those stories, right, and getting access to even information or like what it truly takes like to parent and the responsibilities and what it can look like. But it's just sad that still even today, you know, I'm glad that people have access to the internet and, you know, young people have more information than ever before, but it can probably be very tough to like find the medically accurate, age appropriate information and not just get sex ed from porn. So, you know, still hoping that one day we'll have sex education in school that's actually helpful, because I feel like the abstinence only class that I took in Texas was actually more harmful than it was beneficial. Like it would have been better just not to have it. There was a lot of really sexist stuff in there, just misinformation. Condoms don't work. They break most of the time. Like just things that aren't accurate at all. And scare tactics, they just don't work in that sense, you know?
I think anytime you put something up in the cookie jar, up on the shelf, and tell someone don't touch it, that's the first thing they want to touch.
Right.
And sex shouldn't be that way.
Exactly. And that everyone deserves pleasure, right? So even not just talking about it in the mechanics of things and just talking about condom use and the proper use of condoms and birth control and all these things, but like relationships and pleasure. Like, how do I know if somebody likes me? How do I know if they don't like me and I shouldn't keep texting them? You know, like even those like relationship things, and how as a teenager to navigate some of that, because that can be really hard, right? Like especially now with access to information and the Snapchat and the TikTok and everything out there. Like, how do you know if somebody likes you? Like, even I remember teaching college sex ed, and that was a topic that came up a lot, was not just about sex and sexual health and pleasure, but like actually about relationships and how do I navigate? How do I like text somebody in a respectful way? Or
please, even someone in their 30s and 40s don't even realize that someone's hitting on them. And I'm like, honey, they just hit on you. Really? I'm like,
oh, don't.
Yes. Okay. So because we're in an open marriage, we're swingers. So yeah, I'm a little bit more on cue on who's flirting. And this one's like, woo.
Well, I do get into work mode. But the thing is,
party mode that night.
Sex and relationships are two sides of the same coin. Romantic relationships, and they're separated, and we don't talk about sex, like you said, in schools, and even trying to get sex ed on social media is nearly impossible.
Right.
And the thing is, on the other side of it, the only place we learn relationships from are the people we're around. So and I'm not saying anything bad if you have, you know, came from a dysfunctional family, but we pull those traits from the people around us. So if you never talked about sex, and if, you know, your parents have this type of relationship, there's a very good chance you're going to have that type of relationship, because that's all you know. That's what you're going to base it on.
Right, exactly. And then how do you ask questions, right? And you know, if you have questions, then you just go to the internet. Like, you know, the quality of information that you might find is so vast, right? And even like, you know, going into, you know, if you do go to college, the expectation is that somehow magically, even though you've never had sex ed in school, you're just supposed to be like this well-rounded, sexually healthy person who has all this information, right? But how, if you've never been taught or had a positive sex education class, or, you know, some trusted adult who's helped you navigate through some of that? It's just,
Oh, come on. It's not just college. It's also the ones who stay a virgin until the wedding night, and they're supposed to magically know all that they're supposed to do to please their man on the wedding night when they have no idea, never even seen a penis before, and they're like,
Yeah, and that like anxiety and the performance anxiety and what am I supposed to do? Like, yeah, it can be really tricky and tough. And just having, even though we're, a business where we sell condoms and lubricants, right? We have all these programs and we believe in our mission of education and we do all these things. We do still sell a product, but even especially through My One and other places, sometimes we're like the first person that somebody has had in their life where they can come talk to about their sexual health related inquiries. So sometimes it can be really tricky, even as a person, because I want to help everyone and I'll want to chat with you for like an hour and try my best. But I have to also remember, like, I'm still not like a licensed therapist, right? Or, because sometimes people will start to ask questions like, well, how do you think people will feel about my penis size? Or what do you think my girlfriend's going to say? And, I still have to remember that there still is that line. Like, even as a person I want to help out, that you have to kind of remember to set those boundaries too.
At the same time, though, it's very satisfying when you do help someone, single or
Absolutely.
couple. But thought of people, I'm like, when they got uncomfortable, I'm like, where else do I send them to? And eventually it was like, okay, we need to find you a therapist. There's more problems there. But I even found out, and this amazed me, medical school. So the doctors in our country literally get, was it 4 hours?
4 hours
of sex ed education,
in an 8-year career of
all
education.
through medical school.
That's so wild.
Yep.
And imagine if it's a person who went all through like, high school, whatever, and there was no sex ed there either. So how, in 4 hours, if I had to try and educate somebody about all the possible topics from consent to STIs to all this stuff, like 4 hours is not enough time.
No, not at all. And see, my philosophy is if we could just start preaching, know your biology, the human anatomy, if you learn that, then we could if we like advertise it's like learn the anatomy to have the most pleasurable sex in your life, people will study the anatomy because I have learned more about the anatomy in the last 5 years. Because we do rope, we do BDSM, we swing, all this stuff than I did in high school. High school, I had to be best friends with the geek of the school just to pass the class. They told me back then, pay attention because you'll have the greatest sex in your life. I would probably pay more attention.
Right. And, you know so much about anatomy and how, everything works together. And, if you tie, okay, well, that's because there's that vein there, whatever, you'd learn so much. But it's really...
This angle works well, but hey, if you tilt your hips this way and I lean that way, isn't the sex so much better?
Yes, pay attention to the perineum because that's very sensory and you gotta add more pleasure. Yeah, those things. I mean, because a lot of people don't play with the perineum. They don't realize it's still pleasurable.
Exactly. So just getting that education out there. And that's why we're so passionate about working with health organizations and nonprofits and schools. Like, how do we find the people who are educating and then bring them whatever resources that they need, whether it's like pamphlets or condoms and lubricants or just talking points. Like, we do a lot of that, helping educate educators and just working together with them.
Well, we're going to be right back in just a moment. This is Sex Positive Me on BFAM 109.6.
Nice.
Thanks for jumping in there and giving us the time.
Yeah, I just usually see him and I'm like, okay, poke.
You are getting brutal with that. I got to take that away from you again.
No.
That was a gift from my work.
See, I am very jealous. I'm definitely going to see where I can get one of those pokers for myself.
Yeah, see, it's not actually Mickey's hands because it has 5 fingers. Mickey has 4.
For those of you on the radio, we're talking about Angelique's poking stick.
It's a pointer. I was pointing with it.
Very effective.
You pointed everything else and then you poked me.
Well, because I needed your attention there. But let's talk about our sponsors. SDC, Seek, Discover, and Create is the world's largest lifestyle communities to hook up with open-minded couples, singles, swingers, and kinksters. They have more than just profiles. They have list events, articles, resources, and specials, and they just launched a live streaming feature, which is where we're starting to host Date Night with the Luna. So you can come join us in our little banters, product reviews, and also listen to our podcasts and articles that we have. And as a bonus of being an SDC members, you could attend any of our sex positive B classes for free.
So go to that referral code and sign on up. So one of the things, like I said, I love the fact that your company focuses on pleasure, has all these different avenues to get to the community, and it's you've made condoms interesting again.
Fun, not interesting. They're fun.
Well, what now? I want to go ahead and take like 5 or 6 of them out, lay them out, and start like poking and prodding them and seeing and putting oil on them and watching the science. I'm the science geek. We know this.
Yes, you are.
I want to see all those reactions.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I'm ready. I hope you keep me updated how all that goes.
Poor Pablo. You're going to just torture the poor man.
Pablo, by the way, is our stunt cock. So he takes a lot of beatings sometimes because he doesn't get lube. So sometimes it's like forcing the stuff on him, and he takes a little bit of a beating. Yes. But he is, we'll say, accurate to the typical size. Pablo is not a 13-inch member.
Nope.
He's the normal 5.6 in length that all of us can look at and go, okay, that's reasonable.
Nice. How did you find Pablo? Because I know that I've spent a lot of hours on the internet, like looking for like 3-inch dildo, 3.7-inch dildo, you know, because I've like tried to get a collection of dildos where it actually represents the variety of penis sizes, but often like it's difficult to find something that's like not 7.5 or 8 or 9 something.
Believe it or not, he came with a strap-on kit.
Oh, that's where I'll look.
So, and if I recall, the cover was 2 women. So it was kind of being pitched towards, you know, not needing the huge member that porn tells us we all need.
Right. That's cool.
Sometimes on Etsy, you could find customized dildos. I know someone down in Key West makes dildo soap. So
interesting.
Yeah, I'll send you her information offline. So
cool. Yes. That sounds good. Yeah, because it is, you know, try to get like quite a collection, and I love traveling. You know, when we can travel again, but you know, I usually just have them in my either in my checked-in bag, and they always leave the little TSA love note. You know, like we checked your bag. Was there like 25 different dildos in here kind of note? But I always think it's, you know, they just probably hopefully learn something. Or in the luggage, I like actually just my carry-on, and that's always a really funny experience to go through there for security.
Oh, I went on that swinger cruise, and I had to go downstairs, and they said, we think there's contraband in your bag. Can we search it? And I'm looking at this, and he was straight. He even said China on it, straight out of China. Probably never saw what was in that bag.
No, it was that little Philippine girl.
It was 2 of them. You weren't down there. But then I said, sure. Open it up and let's see what's in there. I have never seen someone turn so red so quickly.
And gathered a crowd.
Here you go. You're good. Just keep going.
Yeah, that happened to me in Shreveport, Louisiana, too, a very small airport where, you know, they were like, there's something in her bag, and they're all kind of like laughing. And then they were waiting for like a female attendant to come, and I was like, I don't care. Like, it's a bag of dildos. Like, anybody who's comfortable can open the bag. But, you know, and sure enough, she finally came, and I asked something along the lines of, like, is there any dangerous weapons in here? And I was like, well, unless Louisiana law considers a massive sack of dildos a weapon, then no.
No, that's Texas. You know that's illegal in Texas to have more than 6 dildos.
That's right. It's still on the law books. I think it never actually got repealed. So
because Ted Cruz is still around, that's why it's still in the law books. He's the one who created it.
Is it 6 and above or more than 6? Like, is 6. Okay, so 7, you're in the danger zone, guys.
Yes,
you're a felon. That's what the law says. Check it out.
But those things always crack me up. Like, where does that start? Like, how does somebody decide that 7 is like that? 7 is not okay. 6 is fine, but 7, that's too many.
Who did this research? We need to know. Yeah.
Well, it's called on YouTube, Dildo Diaries. There's the research. That's where we discovered the Texas laws.
That's funny.
So Milla, we're out of time. Where can people go to get your products?
OneCondoms.com. If you're looking for the glow in the dark, the studded, the One Condoms, the design contest, that's all at OneCondoms.com. And then if you're ready to measure for pleasure and find your perfect condom size out of the 60 sizes, then that is myOneCondoms.com.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you to all our sponsors. Next week, we're going to have another show where, well, we're starting to do giveaways. And at the end of the month, we're going to be giving away this one, which we're out of time, so I'll tell you about it next time. But thank you so much for coming. That was very educational, very entertaining.
Thank you so much.
And thank you to our listeners out there. I hope you enjoyed the show. We'll be returning back on Monday. And right now, I don't know what we're talking about, but we'll come up with something cool.
Well, we'll see if we're not the jury duty. So
oh, yes,
it might
jury
be a
duty.
solo show. So I'm all rage.
Woo.
See you next month.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Again, you're good. Just give me. Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Thank
we'll talk
you.
offline.
All right.
Hey, Milla, hang on a second. Hang on one second, Milla.
I'm holding.